A Simplex converted to a Great Western Railway Prairie tank. This one is part 86. Removing the superstructure and the boiler, making the Smokebox pipework cover plate, plus masking and painting the chimney with etching primer. The first thing I need to do is remove the superstructure and the boiler, so here I'm disconnecting the blower that I made, followed by undoing the large nut which holds the steam pipe from the superheater element to the inlet pipe of the cylinders. And that is it, the boiler is free to be removed. The first thing to go though needs to be the superstructure, the tanks and the cab assembly. I've rebuilt this structure and I resoldered the spectacle plate, but now it's quite rigid. It will not just lift off the boiler because there are two pipes sticking out of the tank at each side. I need to evolve some sort of a successful technique for refitting and any subsequent removals of the superstructure once the boiler is painted. Initially the superstructure was very weak and the tanks flopped about, but now they are actually quite rigid. Before I can lift the structure off the engine, I need to move it forward so that the pipes are past the front of the boiler, like this. And having said that, I can see a problem. Once the smokebox is mounted on the smokebox saddle, this could be difficult. I'll have a practice though before I paint the boiler. The next things to go are the running boards. First the left-hand side one, followed very closely by the right-hand side one. Now I need a piece of cardboard. Here it is. I'm going to make a template to fit around the piping. Quite a few viewers have written in and asked me how I was going to seal the large hole in the bottom of the smokebox. Well, this is the first part of how I'm going to do it. I've made a template and as you can see it fits over the piping, but it's still a bit too big. I thought it would be a good idea to make sure that the snifting valve extension pipe fits in this as well, which it does. Now I know that everything fits and the template is okay, I can make what I'm going to term the primary cover plate. Once I make the primary cover plate and curve it using a piece of brass, it will fit in the bottom of the smokebox like this. To copy the shape of the cardboard template onto a piece of brass, I use my usual deep hole marker pen. All I have to do now is drill a large hole in the centre of this piece of brass. I'm going to begin this sequence with a serious health and safety warning. You must never hold small pieces of metal in your hands when you drill them. If the drill grabs, the piece of metal is likely to spin round. Okay, it probably wouldn't with such a small drill like this, but it would with a larger drill, and as it spins round, taking you completely by surprise, by the time you remove your hand, you will be bleeding. As you can clearly see in this clip, I'm holding the metal with a pipe wrench. Merging the holes into one was not successful with the small drill, so I used a pair of wire cutters. And in no time at all, I could remove the centre part. Another health and safety warning, do not leave small pieces of this either on the floor or on the bench. Put it in your scrap metal box or just in the bin. The next part of the job is cleaning up the hole that I've made in the piece of brass, and for this, as usual, I'm using a drum sander fitted to my small Proxxon motor tool. This is a coarse grit drum sander and it makes short work of the job. The lines showing the shape of the finished plate are not in the right place, by the way. I will accurately cut this metal plate to size once I've finished cleaning up the hole in the plate. In no time at all, it's looking okay. This should be fine, I think. The last part of the job is just to remove all the sharp edges and any burrs caused by the drum sander. Now it's time to take the plate over to the bandsaw and cut it to the correct shape. You will notice that I'm completely ignoring the lines that I drew on the plate anyway. After cutting the plate to the right size, I need to bend it, and for that I'm using my small pair of bending rollers that fit in the vise. It should be obvious why I didn't bend this plate first, for two reasons. One, it would have made it difficult to drill all the holes, and now most of the brass has been removed, it's very easy to bend it. And this clip shows how it's going to fit in the bottom of the smokebox. Now some viewers will be thinking, but there's still a great big hole in the bottom, so what's the point in making this plate? The answer is, this plate will be fixed into the bottom of the smokebox using heat-resistant silicone rubber. I will then make two shorter plates that fit each side of the piping, and this will be quite accurate. And with the help of some more heat-resistant silicone rubber sealant, all holes in the smokebox will be sealed. In my early years, reading the works of LBSC in the Model Engineer magazine, I always remember that he used to say, break up some asbestos millboard and knead it into a putty using water, and that will seal the holes in the smoke box where the pipes go through. That, of course, was many years ago, before the world knew just how dangerous asbestos could be. Moving on, it's now time to fit the chimney. Because the tube onto which the chimney fits has now been painted, it's quite a tight fit. Here I'm carefully masking the top of the chimney, which is copper plated, and that was the reason I made the video series about experiments with electroplating. To finish this episode, it's a bit of painting, not much, just a little bit. I'm painting the main body of the chimney using some etching primer, and here, as always, is a quick shot of the paint drying. After giving the paint a full 24 hours to cure, I intend to respray the smokebox and the chimney. And for that I'll be using the same paint, which is HMG Paint Satin Black. It's really good stuff. I find that ordinary paint is okay for smokeboxes, generally speaking, provided that when you first steam the engine you keep the temperature low to bake the paint on. While the paint on the chimney was drying, I thought it would be a good idea to fit the blower pipe from the turret to the hollow stay down the boiler and remove any masking tape on the wrapper that was still showing. I'm not sure what to do next. The series is more or less complete. When I assemble it for the last time, after painting it that is, then the job will be complete. I almost forgot, I'm going to use a piece of boiler banding to hold the boiler in place at the rear. I was going to fit some extension pieces of cladding down the side of the firebox, but then the boiler is too tight to fit in the frames. So for that reason I'm going to leave it the way you see it. And that's it for this episode. Stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.